What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 70 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel. I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, say hello so the people know what you look like.
Hello. This is me and my fresh haircut.
Yeah, he's looking good. Looking good. Matt, say hello for the people.
Hello for the people.
There you go. Matt's always so clever with his intros, and we just
So
appreciate that.
clever.
All right, we are ready to go. We have a trivia question. Christian almost had a mic this week, but hopefully for next week we will get Mike's situation figured out, and then we're just going to be raring to go. But let's jump into it. You guys ready? You excited?
Let's go.
Yeah. You look enthralled. All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 70 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how you doing today?
I'm just dandy, Dave. It's snowing again, though, which I could live without.
You sound a little tired.
I'm a little tired.
Why is that?
I just, was out last night. It happens.
Yeah, partying hard. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Dave. Thanks for asking. I don't think it's snowing up here, which is good. The weather's been pretty warm for state college standards the last couple of days, so that's been nice. How are you?
I'm doing well. I don't believe it's snowing here either, and so yeah, I'm enjoying life. Having a good weekend and ready to get into podcasting. So I'm very excited about this. Christian does not have a trivia question. I'm going to throw him right under the bus here. And I had to do a little bit of research before we hit record here. So my trivia question for this week is, one country in the world produces about half of all the soccer balls. Do you know what country that is? So everyone will think on that question, and we will reveal the answer at the end after Christian and Matt give their guesses. Before we get into our topics, I wanted to give a plug for stadiumscene.com. So if you're going to a stadium in the United States, you definitely want to check out stadiumscene.com. They have reviews and recommendations for where to park, restaurants and bars to check out before the game, and just other things to do. Additionally, they partner with content creators like us to offer different types of sports content. So they have videos, they have blog posts, they have photo stories, and all different kinds of things. So you definitely want to go check out stadiumscene.tv for all of their different content. They have content for soccer as well as other American sports. Be sure to check out stadiumscene.com and stadiumscene.tv for all of that stuff. Also, a couple quick plugs for my project. So I am the founder of a fantasy soccer website, a simplified fantasy soccer website called Fan Futsal. We have you select 5 clubs instead of 8 to 11 individual players, and we simplify the scoring to make it easier and more enjoyable for all soccer fans to play. So check out Fan Futsal, FANFUTSAL.com for that. Lastly, I have a YouTube channel called The Soccer Tavern, where we're producing videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Christian made a guest appearance on a recent video for our Liverpool. Maybe sometime in the future, Matt can make an appearance in one. Right now, we're releasing club history videos for Premier League clubs. This past week, we released our Manchester videos. This upcoming week will be Newcastle and Southampton. So we have all different kinds of videos on there. So go check that out, The Soccer Tavern on YouTube. Now, let's get into our topics, guys. So first topic we wanted to talk about here is going to be a United heavy segment in our first section, Manchester United. Manchester United is currently evaluating different ways to improve the stadium atmosphere at matches. So some of the things being rumored are including cheerleaders, including song sheets to give out to fans as they walk into the game, and adding capos, which are used in Italy, Germany, and MLS. They're the people that stand at the front of supporter sections with megaphones and kind of lead chants. Christian, do you like any of these ideas, and do you think any of them can be successful?
I want to start by saying it's hilarious that they even have to do this because their stadium, honestly, for as many people as it fits, is always eerily quiet when you're watching it on TV. And I know a lot of commentators bring that up a lot of the times. The game against Liverpool recently, they said that it's the loudest it's been they've heard in years. And obviously, a game against Liverpool, fans are all riled up. It's a huge rivalry game, but it's weird that they're so quiet, I feel like, a lot of the times to me. And I think they need to do something like this. I think cheerleaders is a little bit much. That's a Crystal Palace thing. I think they should keep it there and not bring it to all of the European soccer teams, and definitely not to a team of Manchester United size. The handing out songs, I think, is actually a really good idea. at least in the short term, I think it'll help a lot of the season ticket members just know a lot of the chance that the supporter is the word I was looking
Or
for there.
supporters. It's for supporters too.
The
Yeah.
supporters might be there. The supporters section, they come up with all this really unique and clever stuff. And if you have a whole list of all the words and know all the tunes, in the long run, you aren't going to need it anymore. But for the short term, it'll just get people familiar with the culture.
So does it suffer? Does the atmosphere suffer because it's so big? So, Christian, do you think that because it's so big, that almost works against the team?
It can, because it's just so spread out and there's people everywhere. And I guess you don't really have everyone in there being a huge supporter. Yeah, they are supporting the team, but they aren't in the supporter section. So a lot of it is business related, similar to what you see in America and a lot of the sports you watch. And any team really in Europe. I know I watch Liverpool obviously the most, and they're known for being crazy fans and getting riled up and being loud. So is Dortmund and teams like that. But not every team over there is like that, and the atmosphere I think does have to improve. Mourinho's been saying it since the day he walked in the door, but they have to do something, and I guess good on them for trying, but not good on them because they're United.
All right, Matt, thoughts on any of these ideas? Any of them sound like good ideas that could actually help improve?
Yeah, I think the singing of like having all the songs like on like a pamphlet for all the everybody in this all the fans. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Yeah, all the fans to read from. I think that would be a great job to just increase the atmosphere. United has been a quiet place, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's still part of their culture. I feel like Jose Mourinho has always been like trying to change United culture from like day one. Um, and like the other week, like after they got knocked out of Champions League, he kind of like teased, like saying like, "Oh, this club's been here before, like getting knocked out in the Champions League."
Yeah,
Like,
that was so weird.
that was so weird, and it's just like I feel like he's just like taunting this club like to their face, and like even when they're like one of the most historic clubs in the world, like you can't argue like they're a top five, enormous club. So I just think it's weird that he's the one like kind of instigating all these changes.
So what do you think
And
about? Oh, continue. Sorry.
okay, yeah, and like I don't think he's given them a reason to be loud and cheering for when his tactics are so boring.
No, that's a really good point. What do you? So neither of you touched on the capos idea. What, Matt? What do you think about having capos? The
I'm
people
not
at the
gonna.
the people at the front of supporter sections with megaphones that lead the
Oh,
supporters.
that's what that meant. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't like that. I think like it's like more. When we went to England, it's not like the culture is watching like you just sit and watch and you enjoy, you cheer when things are getting good. It's not like you have like the megaphones like leading the chants like like a national game. I don't think like that necessarily is a good idea.
So I know that's not the culture there now, but what would it help? Like, because clearly, so in Italy and definitely Germany, I mean, these definitely
Yeah,
help. So you not on board with it?
I don't think so because like the
Okay,
culture's been this way for so long.
okay, fair enough. Christian, any thoughts on the capos?
I mean, the culture isn't to have cheerleaders, and Crystal Palace did it. So, I mean, each team is up to their own culture, really. I mean, it's not an English broad cultural thing to have in soccer, but each team does have their own take on how they support soccer. And I don't think the Capos is a bad idea either. It's similar to handing out the music or the chants. I think it's very similar because you have someone instructing you, and it might even be more effective to do that.
Yeah, I think the capos might be a step further than just a song sheet. I mean, for me, I think a song sheet is a nice way to ease people into a different culture or whatever you wanna say. You know, if people want to get involved in the chant and maybe they don't know the lyrics, a lot of times they're holding back. But if they have a piece of paper with the lyrics right in front of them, I think they can execute. The capos, you are making a very fundamental, like very clear, obvious culture shift, and like all people. I don't think people like being told to change. If this naturally evolved from the supporters groups, I think it would be more well received than having the club institute this. So that's kind of where I stand there. Matt, anything else you want to add here?
No.
Christian, one more
What
thought?
exactly is on a stong sheet?
Song sheet? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to respond to that. Okay, so all right, let's keep this thing moving. Sticking with United though, but switching over to the women's game. United has famously never had a women's team, but just announced that they will be forming a women's team for the club. There's still lots of things to figure out, like where they're going to play and other sort of logistical things. But Matt, what do you think about United forming a team? Are they going to be good right from the start? Do you think there's going to be a transition period where they have to learn? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think it's good that they have the team, especially because they're such a big club. They can financially support it. So it seems like a club that's going to be successful. I don't know about like they just come in first season challenging for the title, but I think like with the money supporting them, they're going to be a really good team going forward. Where they're going to play, they're probably going to get a pretty nice stadium, play, state-of-the-art training ground facility, and so I think they're going to be good. I just don't know if it's going to be overnight, but overall, I think it's great for the club and great for the women's game.
Great. So you think it'll probably be a, I don't know, 3 to 5 year period before they figure things out and be competitive?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Christian, your thoughts here? Do you think they're going to come right out of the gate, be good? What else do you make of this situation?
No, I was reading into the article, and they said a lot of the players that would be joining that club are coming from, I forget what do you remember what the school or the training ground was? Like, I can't remember the name of it, but they said 15 current internationals came from that training facility. And if that's what's feeding into this United women's team, that is a huge bonus. Having international quality players could make you competitive. I think it is going to take a couple years before they just hop right in. They're not going to be Manchester United of the men's right now, obviously. They are brand new. But I think every team should have a women's team over there. I'm shocked that they didn't already. I know it's taken a long time for women to be I don't know how to phrase this one. Seen like deemed equal in sports. I know they're still not in most places.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Yeah. But for soccer, I feel like I've always enjoyed watching the women's game. Yeah, it's different from the men's, but in soccer they have such incredible technique, and they might be physically slower and maybe not as strong, but they have a lot of quality, and it is a joy to watch. And for teams not to have those teams over there is surprising, but United are doing great by adding a team. I think that they will eventually become competitive. It's a huge market in Manchester, and if they're having this facility feed into their quality, that's just going to go a long way for them.
Absolutely. I have nothing but positive things to say about this. Additionally, Manchester City has made a commitment to the women's game, and they have one of the best clubs. And so I think it's going to be awesome that this is, within probably a short amount of time, going to be a pretty big rivalry in England and throughout the world in the women's game. And so I think between those two clubs, making a commitment to the women's game could be really beneficial for the women's game in England and, just in a broader context. So, I have nothing but good things to say about this, and I'm kind of excited to see how it all plays out. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just also want to say, like, Man City have done a great job committing to, their women's team, and they did a good job promoting it through like their social media, and their team's been incredible, and they like really committed to, to them financially and marketing wise.
Yeah, United hopefully will do the same. Christian, something to add?
I think it's great idea that they're jumping into the second division, and they're not trying to say, hey, we're Manchester United, we deserve to jump right in and be competitive in the first division. I think it'll give them time to build themselves up into a more competitive unit.
Agreed. So
was that boring to you, Matt?
Yeah, we'll be following that. Matt is yawning as Christian's speaking. We are just flowing with energy this morning. So that brings us to the end of our first segment. You're going to hear a little bit of music, and we will be back to talk to you. Oh, God damn it. We'll be back to talk to you in our second segment. I was so close. Talk to you soon. God damn it. I got through the we will, and then I got so excited that I screwed up my next word. All right. Is everybody doing okay? I feel like we're very low energy today.
I just woke up.
Sorry, I have to. I'm in coach mode right now since I'm in charge of the team today, and I'm trying to get everything worked out because it's snowing and I'm trying to contact a lot of people, so
Okay.
a lot happening.
All right. So we're gonna bring the heat the rest of this podcast. All right, here we go.
I think I'm done now, though. I think I got everything figured out.
Good. I'm so happy. Welcome back, everyone, to our second segment.
Woo!
Let's
go.
Let's talk about the upcoming World Cup this summer. Sadly, the U.S. won't be there, but let's just move past that. So VAR, video assistant referee, has been confirmed by FIFA to be used at this tournament. Christian, is VAR ready for the World Cup? Do you think it should have been implemented and will be used this summer?
Yes. I think there are markets where it's been used correctly, and if they pick the right market to, I guess, resemble in the World Cup, it will work. Why are you looking at me?
The right market to resemble? What the heck?
Well, not resemble. Mean? It's not resemble. I couldn't think of the word.
So, like the way that certain countries do it? Is that what you mean?
I like the way that Germany does VAR, like something like that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Matt, what about you? Is VAR ready? Should it have been implemented for this summer's World Cup?
I do not think so, because what's going on was it FA Cup or the FA Cup? The disaster that's kind of happened in the short amount of time, like the few amount of times it's actually been used, and like how controversial it still is. I don't really support it at this point in time. I wish we would get a couple more tournaments in to really see how it would work and kind of slowly introduce it into the game instead of putting it on the biggest stage this early. So I'm just against it.
I agree. I think it just feels rushed. I mean, MLS was one of the first leagues to implement it, and it was less than a year before the World Cup, right? MLS implemented it last August, and that was one of the first leagues in the world. Germany's been using it for, about half the season, same with Italy, and the FA Cup instituted it, really, it feels like only a couple months ago. So it just feels like it's not been tested enough, and from what you hear, I personally like the way Germany does it too, Christian, but most of the German players and fans dislike it. Italy dislikes it. The FA and English fans dislike it. Apparently MLS fans seem to be the most receptive to it. I think that kind of goes with the culture of the U.S., just because replays are so ingrained in our sporting culture. So I think that's kind of why. But I just think it feels rushed, and it needs more testing before it's implemented on the biggest stage. I like the theory and the concept of what VAR is trying to accomplish. It's trying to address calls that are just blatantly wrong. But where I think there's still a danger is that it's still nuanced. And, if a guy is half a yard offside and the referee calls him offside or onside, or there's a missed call and it's so slight, I don't want to get into a situation where we're reviewing every single little call to make sure everything is 100% correct. And VAR isn't ready yet from my perspective. Christian, other thoughts?
So do you guys think that goal line technology only should be used then?
Yes.
That exclusively, nothing else will be reviewed?
Well, what do you mean by nothing else?
Everything else is the referee's discretion, no assistance.
So the way that it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I support that.
Okay. I think that it is ready, and they're not going to change very much. I think it might have a couple tweaks over the next couple of years, but I think it is ready to be used, and I agree with their decision to use it.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I just have a fundamental disagreement.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different culture, and that's why Europeans don't like it. They've watched soccer for generations, the way that it's been played, and technology is finally catching up to the game. And yeah, it's becoming more Americanized, and I understand why they wouldn't like that, but that's the way that the world is going right now.
So should there be a time limit on it?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay, but there isn't for this. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a couple tweaks, but they have to work it out. And I know this is the biggest event in soccer world, so it's not really the time to work it out, but they have to test it at some point. And what, are they going to wait 4 more years to test it out?
Yeah. They wait and they test it with other tournaments first, make sure it's right before they just implement it at the World Cup. I feel like you're making the point. I feel like you're making the point that we're making. Matt, anything else you want to add here?
No.
Okay. So now let's cross over and talk about soccer on these shores in America. Zlatan Ibrahimovic joined the LA Galaxy, a move that's kind of been rumored for a few years and has finally happened. Matt, is this a good signing for the Galaxy? Do you think he'll actually help the team? Is it too late in his career? What do you make of Zlatan finally joining MLS?
Yeah, I think it's incredible. His following is huge. He's one of the superstars of the world in soccer. So I think that's going to help the league. Getting the best players here. I mean, he is older. He's not the same Zlatan he was even 2 years ago. He's coming off tear his ACL or MCL.
I don't think he tore it. I think did he tear it?
I thought he tore it.
Okay, I thought it was something with like a. I don't know. I don't know. So
he's coming off a serious knee injury, which at this age is going to be difficult. But I still think he has just as much quality as any player that's ever played in the MLS, even at this current form he's at. So I think he's definitely going to help the Galaxy. I think he puts them contenders like right up there with Toronto, Seattle with they still have Dos Santos and him and right?
Yeah. LA has Dos Santos.
Yeah,
Seattle doesn't have.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying
just the way you said that was a little confusing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like they have quality all over, and I think like the best players are going to be able to carry them.
Fair enough, Christian. What do you make of Zlatan joining the Galaxy?
I don't know if they're gonna, able to replace Giassi Zardes this year with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You know how competitive that can be. Ibra is going to change that team alone. He is that talented. I know he's older, but that man plays like a style that it doesn't matter how old. I mean, eventually it will, but right now it doesn't matter how old he is. He is just a monster with incredible technical ability. I haven't seen a player like him before. He is a freak of nature. I think it's awesome that he's coming to the U.S. I can't wait to see him come to Talent Energy Stadium. That'll be so much fun to watch. But I hope he walks away with a loss.
I couldn't be more excited too. I wish he would have come a little bit earlier, before the knee injury, because we still don't know how he's going to be after it. But, throughout his career, he's proven to be incredibly effective at adapting to different situations. Like you said, he's a physical specimen. He's absolutely enormous. I think he's 6'5". He's a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's incredibly flexible. He can do the most amazing things, and I think you're going to see that. So, yeah, I think it's nothing but good. Obviously, from a branding perspective, he's one of the biggest soccer brands out there, and it's great for the league. He's going to sell a ton of jerseys, going to generate just a ton of interest, so it's great on that front. I do think it may upset the balance of the Galaxy, because when you actually physically look at their lineup, it's tough to see where he actually fits in, because Dos Santos is there. You have Alessandrini, then you have Ola Kamara, who they just traded for. And I know these are smaller names, and from Zlatan should walk into that lineup, but they are still big personalities, and it's going to be tough to manage all of that. And so Ziggy Schmidt is going to have his hands full on that front, because Zlatan is going. He's
going to have his hands full regardless with Zlatan.
Yeah. It could just be Zlatan. Yeah, it could just be Zlatan and a bunch of no personalities, and it would still be tough to manage. So that's a good point.
Was that note to the LA Galaxy actually written by him? Do we know?
So his full page ad?
You mean the where he said "You're welcome"?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Zlatan took out a full page ad in the LA Times that said, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome," and then just a bunch of white space, and at the bottom he signed it. And so that was his branding team came up with that concept, and that just fits perfectly with his image and all of that. Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't be more excited from a just straight branding perspective. And it's going to be entertaining to watch one way or another. If that team completely implodes, watching Zlatan trying to process that is going to be incredible. So no matter what's going to happen, they're going to be entertaining to watch. Matt, other thoughts you wanted to add here?
I don't think LA is going to get worse from getting better players. You were saying. I think usually when you get better players, you're going to get better.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see what happens. Christian, other thoughts here?
We're just going to get a lot more drama. He just adds something different that most players can't do. It's going to be really fun. Even the articles that are going to be written about this man.
I couldn't be more excited. So, yeah. So we'll definitely be following that. last thing we wanted to talk about in this section, Kyle Martino, recent candidate for U.S. Soccer President, USSF President, and he's back with NBC Sports these days. As his analyst for the Premier League, but he came out with an article for Sports Illustrated, basically talking a little bit about his campaign. And a lot of the article focused on youth development in this country and how kind of the federation, the soccer federation, neglects kind of the game at the lowest levels, and it could have long-term ramifications down the line. Basically, he's saying that U.S. soccer has made decisions that have made the game not fun for kids. And so a lot of times state associations are trying to do their own things to try to make the game more fun. So Matt or Christian, let's start with you. Do you agree with the game not being fun at the lowest levels? I know we haven't been, involved a ton since we're in our 20s now, so we haven't been involved at that lower age. And, kind of how do you balance having fun with also making sure that the kids develop the proper skills and training? So what do you think on that front?
This is a weird one for me because I completely see things from a different perspective, almost 100%. I feel like we're having too much fun and there's no real grit behind the players that we produce. I think it's the training isn't serious enough to create the talent that we need. I think that the tournaments that are had, like the trips that people take to go and play in these major tournaments at the youth level, they're more of just a vacation with soccer being a part of it as well. I don't think it's taken seriously enough. And I think people are treating it as vacations and just fun. Like that's just what I saw from when I was in youth soccer.
Okay. Interesting perspective. Matt, your thoughts here?
Well, to Christian's last point, I don't think I went on vacation on my soccer tournaments. I feel like I was always there to play. I mean, going on vacation's fun, but I mean, pros have fun when they go. They travel. They're there. If they're professionals, they're there for the game. They still have fun the other parts of the day. So I don't think that necessarily affects soccer, the actual quality of the game. But I don't know how it would be made more fun necessarily. I never had a problem with how soccer was run in America. I always had fun playing. I don't know what he was talking about that would make it different. He was saying how parents, they're saying they're not soccer people and it's hard for everyone to get engaged. But I don't know how you change that. You can't change the rules really.
Yeah, maybe he meant specifically the training aspect of it isn't fun.
So,
I guess that's what he was going for.
Exactly. So from my perspective and what I understand as far as the youth landscape these days, and again, this is all based on reading. So I don't coach. I don't have any kids and any of that. So I don't know for a fact.
Maybe you should change that.
Yeah, the way that it seems, I know Mom would love that. I know what it seems like based on my reading is that there are hard guidelines being pushed down from the U.S. Soccer Federation that basically is telling people the way that they need to do training, and it's much more regimented and all of that. And so especially if kids are in development academies in the US, it's kind of more rigid. And so it's apparently becoming less fun. And what's happening is people are becoming more robotic, and we're developing a very specific player that fits into whatever this mold is. And we're not getting, developing all different types of players. And so that's kind of the criticism that's happening right now. And so that's all, again, based on what I've read. And I haven't actually seen that, but that's apparently what's happening.
So are you saying we're trying to create more of an athlete than specific types of soccer players? I don't know.
I think we're trying to create a very specific type of soccer player. It's not that we're trying to create athletes, because we've always done that in U.S. soccer. What's happening is we're trying to create basically a well-rounded soccer player who's not
doesn't have specific skill set. You mean we're not creating wingers and strikers and center midfielders.
Exactly.
We're not separating them. You mean
kind of like that, and kind of people aren't being forced to think for themselves. It's everybody's playing kind of the same style, and there's no sort of tactical sort of nuance in trying to figure out how to break things down or how to do things differently. It's everybody's kind of being treated the exact same, and it's kind of making it not fun. Matt, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that actually, because the academies, I feel you can tell the quality, because I feel the academy guys are the ones that end up playing D1 soccer, and you see that here, and it's just I feel they have become such boring type of players, and they're taking out creativity. I could see that how the academy has kind of suffocated that out of the game.
Exactly. So how do you change that? Do you have any ideas, Matt?
I don't be like, I don't know, because like there's such like a separation between like the academies and clubs already. Like I don't want to give up on the academies, so I'm not gonna say like it's not working yet. But like I feel like it's just like trial and error. You gotta have to see like where this is gonna go.
Fair enough. Christian, any thoughts?
Um, I just think there's to be a better development system, and the academies really need to step up their game in terms of focusing on specific skill sets that they need to improve. I think, I mean, if you look at Germany and Spain and those types of teams that have been extremely successful, Brazil, another one, they do all play a similar style, and they're creating similar types of players, but in different positions. I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't think I offended you that much.
We just lost Matt, but he'll be back.
I think that it's like Spain created more possession-based players. Germany create more just physical monsters that play together. Like they're just very technical and very like they're just great players all around. And if we can create that, that'd be great. I know that's what we kind of said. We would have all-around players. We just don't have that quality. I think you need players who all play a similar style, but you need players who are different than what we are creating right now. People who have their skill sets are amplified and they are focused on what they need to improve for their specific position.
Fair enough. And you bring up a good point about Germany. So I think I read an article a couple of years ago about how in Germany, everything at the youth level up until you're about 12 or 13 years old is all about development of skills and making the game fun. And then only when you get to 12 or 13 is when they start bringing in more the tactical stuff, the different formations, the different ways to play the game. And so adopting a model like that may be more effective for the U.S. Also, what's most important, I think, from my perspective, is building mini training, or not training pitches, mini fields all over the country for futsal to be played or five-a-side, and incorporating those types of games and trying to, in this country, basketball is kind of the culture that, hey, if you want to go do something, you go out to the basketball court, you go shoot around with a couple friends and all of that. We need more of that on a soccer front. And so for kids to have a space where they can go and play a little game and work on skills and just, again, make it more fun. So I think more of that would be most effective. So
I agree.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens on that front, but I think things definitely need to change, so we'll see what happens. That brings us to the end of our second segment. You're going to hear a little bit more music, and then Christian, Matt, and I will be back to talk to you in our third segment. Talk to you soon. Okay. I don't know what the hell happened to Matt.
He said his computer froze and it's restarting.
Okay. Oh, man. All right. Anybody watching on YouTube, sorry, please bear with us.
It's not me this week.
Yeah.
Yes. Woo!
Yes. So please bear with us. We will be, I guess we'll just have to wait for Matt. So, Christian, anything to entertain the guys? Should I get some balls and start juggling?
Hey, so everyone on YouTube watching right now, here's a little bonus feature. So I was at the Sixers game this week, and they gave everyone who had a beard, they came up to you and like grabbed you and was like, "Hey, take this beard butter." I was like, "What the hell is this stuff?" But apparently, it makes your beard silky smooth, and now I have the best beard. Wow, is Kristen there sleeping?
She's not sleeping, but yeah. Sorry, I was trying to juggle, entertain people.
Yeah, but it was really funny. They were only coming up with people with beards. So, like, the people I was with, no one had a beard. And they were like, "Why did they stop you?" And then we looked at what they gave me. And I was like, wow, that's embarrassing.
Nice. Well, that's cool. What is it called again? Sorry, I was juggling.
It's called Maestro's Classic. But one side is beard wash and the other is beard butter.
Interesting. Kristen.
I assume it's like a...
My wife made me some beard butter, and that was yeah, I used that for a while, so that was very nice.
Did you put that on your bread?
No. Oh, hey, Matt's back.
Wait, hold up 1 second. I answered on my phone because my computer was frozen.
You sound different.
Is back. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's on his phone, Mike. Did you like that joke? Did you like your own joke, Christian?
Yeah.
All right. As far as episode title names, I just got to hop in. Christian made that comment about 30 minutes in about.
I did. I saw. I remember.
Yeah. So if you have any other suggestions, let me know.
Beard butter.
Matt. Matt, do you need me to re-invite you for your computer, or are we just doing this the rest of this way?
Second.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while that's happening, I should probably go find those golf
Oh
balls.
wait, sorry to bore you is another title option.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that was pretty early on, right? That was
Yeah, that was very early on when Matt yawned.
Yeah, that was during the
it was the
women's team.
Yeah. Makes it look even worse, Matt.
Yeah. Also, last week you made Mark Lawson, the guy that we had on. He listens to the podcast, so you kind of threw him under the bus last week.
What?
You said that he didn't know about Liga MX or whatever, so he sent a message apologizing or whatever. So just
I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just meant he's over there. He didn't know.
Yeah, I know, but I felt bad.
I didn't know until you told me a couple weeks ago, so it's not his fault.
Yeah, I know. So, sorry, Mark.
Hey, Mark. I apologize for throwing you under the bus. I didn't mean to.
There you go.
Or the Mourinho mobile.
Oh, that's a good one. Hey, all right, Matt. Just whenever you're ready, let me know when to invite you.
I can't see him. Where are you? Come back.
Matt? He's right there.
It's just a green box that says M right now.
Oh. You know what? Yeah, his face is frozen on my screen.
Yeah. I think he's gone again.
All right, should I boot him?
Get the fuck out of here.
Eject. All gone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Anyone who's actually watching this on YouTube,
is there anybody
for this? Well, it's just.
Oh, you mean later? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you meant live listeners.
In the future.
Live listeners have definitely turned off.
Yeah. I don't know if we had any. Yeah, it's pretty much just we got nothing in the chat.
My ankle feels really good today.
Good. Don't push it. So just got to keep working on your exercises.
Today,
Yeah. Keep working on your exercises, your sizes, as I like to call them.
Sizing up, just size it up.
Pretty excited for breakfast. Getting hungry.
What are you doing?
Same thing I make every day.
The same thing you make me every day?
Yep. Yeah.
You make that every single day?
Yep. Fruit smoothie, egg hash with chopped sweet potatoes and spinach.
Every day. Wow.
Every day. Every day.
Every damn day.
Every day.
Does anyone know what that's from? Listeners, why don't you call in and tell us what you think?
Dial 855-632.
That would be Coach from New Girl, in case anyone didn't get that one.
Christian's trivia for the week.
Yeah, here you go. I did have one.
There you go.
So sucky.
So when do you have to leave for your game?
It's home again, so I don't have to leave until 1:40.
Nice. I don't know. So what's going on with Matt? Has he texted or anything?
No.
Did his phone die?
Probably.
The technology.
I got my new battery.
Oh yeah. So how did you do it?
So you go and you literally just drop it off at Staples, and they're like, this will take 20 minutes, and it took an hour. So that annoyed me a little bit, but it was done.
So how much was it? It was $30?
$30.
All right, I should probably do that. Are they still running that deal?
As of yesterday.
Oh, you did it yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Well, yeah, I went to Vacantes in between, I dropped it off. I was like, I'm going to go get my haircut. Then I came back, and the guy barely started, and he's like, wow, that was really fast.
Nice.
Then I walked around, and I tested out some office chairs. Not that I was ever going to buy one, but the expensive ones are very nice.
That's good.
And then everyone kept asking me if I needed help. And then I found the microphone.
Yeah, I was about to say, is that why you bought a microphone?
Yeah, because I was in Staples already.
I thought
I should have bought the expensive one. Yeah. Apparently those ones work.
Well, they don't work for iPhone.
Is yours the black? You got a black one? The only one they had there was silver.
Yeah, they're the same.
It would have been like this.
Yes. Yeah. So you can get a silver or a black one. You can buy it online.
I'm not going to buy a $110 microphone. That shit cray.
You bought like a $50 one, right? 45.
38.
Oh, okay. All right, whatever. I mean, this works great, and if you're going to be making videos and other things, I mean, this works really well. So
True.
I viewed it as an investment because I
When
plan
I
on.
become a big deal, maybe I'll buy one.
Yeah. Okay.
Like next week.
MPK 811.
Can he get his ass back?
I don't know
now?
what's going on.
Why can't he use his phone?
He can. Obviously, it's going to sound different, and it's not ideal. But yeah, at this point, we just need him back.
I'm just gonna keep this here like a microphone.
Okay, what is that?
It's my water bottle.
It's tiny.
What? No, it's not.
It looks tiny. It looks tiny. Oh, hey. Oh. Hello.
Yeah, Batman's bigger than the water bottle.
Yeah, so you never want that to be the case. Do you, just want to apologize to everyone?
Yeah,
I apologize to everyone.
Are we good?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. No restarts anymore or any of that stuff?
Well, not right now.
Can't make any promises. Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment. The North American World Cup bid finalized its host cities over the past couple days because I think final submissions were due to FIFA sometime last week. We're not going to go through all the different cities, but Matt, are there any cities that surprised you that were either included or that were excluded?
That were trying to think now. Is Chicago not on there?
No, Chicago's not on there. They dropped out. Do you want me to explain why?
Yeah.
So basically, FIFA requires incredible concessions from a city. They require basically, I think, 10-year immunity for people or 10-year tax, abatements. Is that what it's called? Whatever. It's basically 10-year tax credit. So people from FIFA won't be taxed within your city for 10 years. It's legal immunity, so you can't be prosecuted. It's the most crazy things that cities are required to do in order to be considered a host city. And so both Chicago and Vancouver are two of the most prominent cities that dropped out because of that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess Chicago is the only American city I can think of off the top of my head that I was really surprised that aren't in it. It's awesome that Philadelphia is getting it. Nashville. I'm surprised by Nashville. I've been to Nashville a couple years ago and just doesn't remind me necessarily of a soccer, city or soccer environment. They did get did they win the expansion team? Yeah. Okay. So I guess this is going to help, grow soccer in the area, but, to pick them as a World Cup city before they even, have their inaugural team. I think that's a pretty bold strategy there, Cotton. So I think, other than Chicago and Nashville, I'm not really surprised by the other cities.
Fair enough. And just to add a little bit of clarity, so these still may be pared down a little bit. So it's not completely finalized if these cities will actually be chosen as World Cup host cities. Just wanted to throw that little caveat in there. Christian, any surprises for you on this list?
Yeah, Edmonton was a little bit of a surprise for me from Canada. I don't really consider them a big soccer area, but after you just explained what happened with Vancouver, I guess that's the next best option. I don't really know. I don't know if Quebec City maybe as another option. I don't know. I don't really know many cities in Canada that would be willing to offer these tax abatements and are willing to host a huge soccer tournament. So, all right, Edmonton, good for you. So I would say Philadelphia, I'm very excited, is on this list. I'm not surprised in any way that they are. They seem to always be in the soccer tournaments, and that's going to be very exciting for me. Other than that, yeah, Nashville was a little bit weird. Cincinnati's a little weird for me as well, but I don't really have any problems with most of the other cities.
What about Miami in the Southeast in the middle of July? For me, I mean, I understand that it's a big city. And also, Houston and Dallas could be thrown in there, but both of them have stadiums that are indoors. So I can understand why, they were chosen and how that's going to be, be functional. But I've been to, I think, Miami and Houston in the summertime, and it's I don't know how you're going to play a tournament, during midday, because I'm sure the games are going to be scheduled midday to appeal to the European market. And so I don't know how that's actually going to be done. So that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, I understand why Miami was chosen. It's just actually seeing a match played there is going to be really rough for teams. Lastly, Boston, New York, Philly, Baltimore, and DC are all on the list, and they're all within a relatively small kind of corridor there. I don't know if all of them will end up in the final list. I know that that's a big concentration of people in that area, and they could support that, but I just feel like it's a lot of cities kind of in a small area, and I wouldn't be surprised if one or two are cut from there. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I didn't even think about weather because of July, but yeah, like my girlfriend's moving to Houston for the summer, and like she's been like told like don't go outside, like you're only outside to get to your car, and like that's about it. So I didn't even consider the extreme heat.
Christian, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I just agree with you completely. I think it's going to be a tough one with that overwhelming heat. I know in Houston it's unbearably hot, but at least it's a dry heat. It's a little different from what you're going to be getting. No, it's not really.
No, it is not.
No. Yeah,
It is right on. It is right off the Gulf of Mexico, and it is very much a humid heat.
Never mind. Okay, well, good to know. That's much better to know. I mean, San Francisco can not really get that hot. Just kidding. Never mind. LA will get a little bit hot, but that's more of a dry heat.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it's a little weird then.
Houston has an indoor stadium. Houston and Dallas both have indoor stadiums, so it's not as much of a concern there. For me, it's Miami is the biggest one.
Aren't they turf fields though?
Yeah. So
I mean, Orlando.
They've gotten around that for turf fields. They'll lay grass over top. It's not ideal, but they've gotten around that in the past for hosting tournaments there.
Okay. Will Orlando and Miami both be on there, or do you think only one of them will end up being in there?
I don't know. I mean, it could be that they're both included there, just to keep a bit of like if you play in Atlanta, Orlando, and Miami, just to keep your fan base and everybody kind of in a concentrated area. I could understand that, so that teams aren't flying across the country for group stage games. I could understand why it's done that way, but I don't know.
So it'll kind of be like Boston, New York, Philly, that type of deal, probably.
That's my understanding, but we'll see.
That's interesting because in Brazil, that's not how it worked at all. You had to travel very far for your group games, and it would be nice if they did that for their fans. But
yeah, and Brazil, I think they did that because of the host cities that were chosen. I think it wasn't an ideal scenario, and if they could have kept it more regionalized, I think it would have been better. But I don't know the right answer and how this is actually going to work. So, we'll see all of that. But let's keep this thing flowing here. Let's talk about the MLS Anonymous Players Survey. So every year, ESPN FC does an anonymous survey of MLS players and asks them all kinds of, questions to kind of grab headlines and things like that. Christian, from your perspective, what was most surprising from some of the answers here?
I thought one of the funniest things was that they did the most overrated player, and I thought it was interesting that they did the most underrated player as well. This is a weird thing that I never knew that they did. Do they do this in other countries?
I don't know if they do in other countries, but they've been doing it in MLS for the past few years.
Yeah, I never heard of this, and I think it's a really cool idea, and you learn a lot about what the players think. I think the first question is the key question that everybody wants answered: who's to blame for the failure to qualify for the World Cup? And everyone said pretty much everyone's to blame, which is correct. Everyone is to blame for this.
So that's not surprising. So which of the answers?
I'm just going through what I thought.
But let's not go through every single
I'm going to go through everyone.
No,
and everyone's
we're not doing that.
No. The one that surprised me the most, at least from what I've seen so far, was do young players get enough playing time in MLS? And more people said yes than no. And I overwhelmingly think no, they do not. So it was, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. You explained already that only 100 people answered the survey, and 2, everyone who answered the survey, I'm sure, is an older player. So they're a little bit biased. No?
I don't know about that.
I assume most of them are, because most of them are older.
If most of them were older, why would they think that MLS play? So you're saying they get too much playing time? Is that what your older players would think?
Yeah, and they're like, no. What? No.
I don't understand what point you're trying to make then.
I don't think they want young players to have to get more time because they want the time they have. So they're going to say, yeah, they get enough.
Yeah. Okay. So we're saying the same thing. Okay. So that's your perspective. Okay. That's interesting. Matt,
sorry.
One more.
Nope,
sorry.
Go ahead. The promotion relegation one, most of them said yes to that, which I agree with.
That's surprising. So I can understand that. For me, that was really surprising that most players agreed with that too, because then their livelihood would be on the line. So
Exactly.
I found it interesting that they said that as well. Matt, but what about you? What was most surprising for you from this survey?
I think the funniest thing was when they did the overrated, and you look at the list, and it's just like basically the U.S. men's national team, and just like seeing like how like they're viewed domestically. And I was like going through the list, I'm like, these guys are like our starters, like our core of our national team. Just like nobody respects them in the league. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah, but I think that's a little unfair because overrated doesn't necessarily mean they're not good. What it means is that they're possibly overcompensated for their level of production. I think that's what it is. It's, you got Michael Bradley making $6 million a year when other defensive midfielders who are almost as capable, yeah, they may not be quite as good, but, are making less than $1 million, in some cases less than 500,000. I think that's more where it comes into play.
All right.
And also,
okay, yeah, I get that.
And also the most overrated was Giovanni Dos Santos. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to add that caveat.
Okay, yeah, it was Giovanni Dos Santos, but I'm just saying, like, if it's our national team and, like, we're supposed to be happy that we got our domestic national players back, they come to the league and they're not the ones dominating, I think that's just a huge problem. And, like, that's why I'm surprised because, we like, try so hard to get our great players or, our national players back, and then they come back and, they're not performing like they're supposed to. So that's why I think it's most surprising.
Fair enough. For me, in addition to the pro-rel issue, the other thing that I found really surprising is that players said changing the salary cap would be the thing that they would want to do the most. So increasing the salary cap over free agency. Now, anybody who followed the last labor negotiations with MLS has, it seemed like free agency was the biggest thing players should have gone after and should have wanted. And they didn't. They got a very, very limited form of free agency. And I would have thought more players would want free agency. And so that's why, Christian, to your point about it being older players, I feel like older players would value free agency more. And so I think that, I don't know what the sample size of this list was and who they were including and excluding. But for me, I found it really surprising that free agency wasn't the thing that they would change the most. Anything else to add, Christian?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory that the MLS salary structure, everyone said they did not like it. That seems pretty blatantly obvious. And I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's not surprising that everyone, or not everyone, but like almost a fourth of all the players surveyed said Patrick Vieira is the player that they'd want to play for most, or the coach they'd want to play for most. But I guess that's just coming from a player's standpoint for what he's done as a player, not what he's really done as a manager.
I think that's a little unfair because he's done really well with the New York City team that wasn't incredibly good under Jason Kreis in their first year, and he's built them into, at this point, title contenders, and they made the playoffs every year under his tenure, and that's to go along with his awesome playing career. So I can totally understand that.
And with the most underrated player, I don't know if I really agree with Piatti. I think that he is rated exactly where he should be. Like every time we play against him, I am shaking that he's going to take over the game because he is that talented.
Again, I think it comes back to more a monetary thing. I think he definitely makes under $1 million. And so, again, relatively speaking, I think he's underrated from that perspective, or at least until recently.
Undervalued.
I think he may have. Different. Yeah, but okay. Matt, anything else you want to add in closing before we get into our last topic?
No.
All right, last thing we wanted to talk about, we had touched on this in the past, the Campeones Cup, which is the official name now for the Liga MX versus MLS League Champions sort of one-off playoff match. We have a little bit of details about it now. So on September 19th, 2018, BMO Field in Toronto is going to be hosting the Liga MX champion for kind of a one-off champion playoff cup or whatever the heck you want to call it. Matt, let's go to you first here. What do you think about this tournament, or this, I guess, is one-off match? Is it fair that it's only going to be one leg? What are your thoughts now upon hearing about, some of the details about it?
Yeah, I like it. I'm trying to remember our last conversation. I thought we were all for, this type of match if we could figure out what time of year would be best. September. What's the Liga MX calendar look like?
It starts in July. So this is kind of right in the middle of their Apertura, I think is what it's called.
And it's towards the end of the MLS season. So I think that's I guess a fair time to do it. We're both in the season. It might be a little unfortunate, and like I don't know how serious they're gonna take it because it is in the middle of the season. So I don't know how much money like the prize is, and like how competitive each team will be in their domestic league. I guess that will be like a deciding factor of how competitive this match will be. But I think in theory this is a great idea.
What about it being one leg only at the MLS club? Do you think that's
Yeah,
fair?
I don't know about the one leg only at the MLS Cup. I am a fan of the one leg. I wish there was a neutral site. I don't think I mean, Toronto in September isn't going to be, brutal conditions, but still, I would want there like to not be like an advantage for one team over another.
Yeah, but getting it at a neutral site, I don't know if you're going to have fans travel to that neutral site just for this game. It's one thing to travel to the Champions League final, which has, a huge sort of interest in intrigue and history already built up. I think it'd be tough to get fans to go to a neutral site just for this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like England, like the League Cup doesn't mean like too much, and then but if you put it in Wembley, and like we don't have like a Wembley, I think if we establish some sort of like national stadium of import, like where big matches are played, like it would be awesome like to go.
In
But I know
theory.
like yeah, I know it's gonna be hard to build a stadium with that much culture when we have like so many big stadiums already, and there's teams from all over.
Yeah, there's that, but there's
Well, it's
also
from a
this
fan
this
perspective.
country is also enormous, right? This
Yeah.
country is enormous. In England, to get to Wembley from anywhere in the country is relatively speaking doable within a couple hours, 6 hours at most, by train. And so that's a little bit different than this country. So, Christian, sorry to loop you in. I didn't mean to cut you off there. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just explaining that from a fan's perspective, there's so much travel for you to get to a stadium if we made it in one place. But with this game specifically, I think that it's ridiculous that it's one leg in Canada. I think that either, yes, it should be a neutral site that's kind of in between, or it should be two legs, which I think is probably the answer. I think, but the problem with doing two legs is that it is during the season and you're just adding games at that point and games that really have no meaning right now. But that's how it is when you start a new tournament like this and you have to build up that culture and that history and that rivalry. So it'll be interesting to see how this progresses over the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to be taken seriously, at least at the beginning here with the first leg or the first game ever played in it. But I like the idea. I just can't imagine the execution is going to be right, at least from the beginning.
So I was very much in the same camp that I don't know how serious it was going to be taken, but after MLS's performance in the CONCACAF Champions League this year, and depending on how that finalizes, and if MLS ends up winning the Champions League, I think Liga MX teams may take this more seriously. So I know I was kind of flippant at first, but now I think this could be really interesting, and I'm kind of excited about it based off of MLS's performance in the Champions League. The last thing I wanted to throw out is if this alternates being hosted, so this year it's in an MLS home stadium and next year it's at a Liga MX stadium, I think I could understand that a bit more, and it would be more fair if they kind of did something like that. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to follow. Matt, anything else you want to add on this topic or any other topics?
No, I would just say like, sorry if you heard that motorcycle, but yeah, I agree with you. It's a rotating home field advantage or rotating site in between America and or more Canada and Mexico. I'd be on board for that.
Christian, anything else you want to add on this topic or any other topics?
No, I do not.
All right, the last thing I just wanted to throw out, this was a really cool story I saw on Twitter. Harry Wilson, who just made his debut for Wales, his grandfather, when he was 18 months old, put a 50-pound bet on him to get a cap for Wales at some point in his life. The grandfather won 125,000 pounds just for making that bet. And so that was really, really cool and interesting to hear and read that story. And if you go to the Twitter thread we're going to link to, you'll see a bunch of other parents and grandparents who made bets on their kids and end up winning a ton of money. So definitely go check that out. Matt, you had something to add?
How do they make a line for an 18-month-old person? Like
Same way they do for anything else. There's a mathematical calculation like this, like they have some sort of formula to like they'll take your money because I'm sure a ton of other parents and grandparents do this and they just lose money. So it's all about risk, and so they have some sort of formula for it.
so, like, could I have odds?
Yes.
Like
If you were in England, yeah. So this is in England where everything is very sort of, it's gambling culture and everything is just accepted and they'll take odds on anything, really. Remember that guy who ate a pie during a match? There was odds on him eating a pie. Like they take all kinds of bets. Interesting. Okay. Christian, you have thoughts there?
Yeah. Why does not every parent do this? Absolutely. I would bet every time. Because the chances, they might be slim, but $50 at the end of the day, okay, whatever. I'll bet that 100% of the time. Are you kidding me?
That's gambling. What do you mean? That's just gambling. So why don't you bet on everything then? Like, what do you like?
Because this is amazing. Like the odds in this one is ridiculous. And you can work specifically yourself. You can have your child go through the right avenues to get there.
That's not true.
Yeah. Yes,
that is not true.
Yes, you can.
There's still only like 50 players, or like 50 to 100 players in a generation that gets a cap.
You can steer him into a career of soccer, but how he's going to develop and all of that, and ultimately the kid has to make his own decision. So you can push him in a certain direction, but you don't have a ton of control on this.
But you have more control in a lot of other bets that you can make.
Potentially. So yeah, that's
no, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's recap our trivia question. You guys can give your answers. So there is one country in the world that produces nearly half of all soccer balls. What country is that? Christian, you want to give your guess?
China.
Matt, do you want to give your guess?
He took China, so I'll go Germany.
Pakistan is the correct answer.
Oh, I knew that one.
Sure you did. So listeners, hopefully you did better than Christian and Matt here. With that brings us to the end of this podcast. If you want to check out links to any of the stories we discussed here, they'll be in the show notes. We'll also tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is @BTSoccerPod. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Go check out our website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can read about us, check out past episodes, and so much more. We also record this thing live on YouTube, so come join us on Sundays. You can hang out with us, interact with us, send us messages while we're recording, and we will give you a shout out and just interact with you. So with that, Christian and Matt, thank you for being with me this week and talking to me. Listeners, thank you for being here, and we will talk to you all next week. See you, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Anyone on YouTube, thank you for, if you're still here, you
got a lot
deserve
of exclusive
Send us
content.
a message. Send us a message if you are still here watching this damn thing, because that was a marathon and you deserve something.
It was. They got a lot of exclusive content when Matt left.
Yeah.
A marathon.
A marathon. All right. See you, YouTubers. We're not going to put you through anymore. See ya.